Good evening, everybody. Sorry I'm a bit late tonight. I'm having a bit of problem with the lighting, as you might be able to tell. I look a bit fuzzy, don't I? But hopefully you can see me okay. I feel like I've spent a lot of the day recording because I'm in the process of recording a course that will be launched this month sometimes. I've got a lot of news around that to be sending out soon for people. But tonight I wanted to talk about seasonal allergies because it's that time of year, isn't it? And it could have been affecting people for quite a while already because of the hot weather we've been having. But all those symptoms relating to hay fever. Hi Kelly, great to see you tonight. So hay fever, it's a real problem. It makes people's lives an absolute misery. So I wanted to talk about that and things that you can do that can be helpful. But what I would like to say actually is that when it comes to allergies, seasonal allergies, there are things we can do now that can be helpful. But what we really need actually is to put in place a long-term plan. And I'll go through that a little bit in a moment. So seasonal allergies, you know if you suffer from this because you get the itchy eyes, you may get itchy skin and the runny nose, and everything just feels really, really uncomfortable. And it can happen throughout the summer season, or it can happen early or later, and it can be linked to certain types of pollen that you in particular have a reaction to. So it is this immune reaction, and it is to do with the fact that your body creates antibodies in relation to this particular type of pollen or some airborne pollen that it comes into contact with. And as a result of that, it initiates this release of histamine from mast cells. So it's this compound that gets released from mast cells, and it's histamine that creates these symptoms that you experience, which is why if you go to the chemist, they give you antihistamines to take. But the problem with antihistamines is that some of them can make you drowsy and you don't function really, really well. So what we'd like to do is to think about what you could do naturally that may help to lower that histamine response so that you get through your day-to-day life much better. So these are the immediate things that you can do. Oh, Kelly, you're suffering big time right now. I hope that you find some of these things helpful. So listen up carefully to what I'm about to say. Histamine response. What can we do to lower the histamine response? Because that's what we need to do when we've got this acute situation that's going on. So the first thing that we need to think about is hydration. We need to get our hydration levels up as much as possible. These are all things that actually help to lower the histamine response from the mast cells. So hydration is number one. You know, we talk about hydration generally, but it's in the region of about 2 litres of hydrating fluid a day. We shouldn't be whacking in more and more fluid, but some people are a little bit on the dehydrated side, or they may be having too many stimulating teas and coffees. So you also need to balance that out. So you need to lower your intake of stimulatory drinks like teas and coffee, and at the same time be increasing your hydrating fluid. So ideally water, but it could be herbal or fruit teas, rooibos tea. It could be very diluted cordials, but just anything that's going to help you get your hydration levels up is number one, and at the same time be reducing the amount of stimulatory teas and coffees. So that's the first thing that you need to be paying attention to. And if you don't drink much tea and coffee, but you actually are drinking some, you know, just see if you can eliminate that for a short period of time, just to see if that has an impact and helps your symptoms. Now, after that, we need to be thinking about our stress levels. It's not helpful, the greater the amount of stress we have in our lives. And I know currently, you know, some people have more stress than others. Others may not be feeling that stress. But for some people, particularly this year and at this point in time, some people's stress levels are actually quite high. So things that we can do that can try and reduce our stress response can be helpful as well. Anything to do with just getting outside, and walking, deep breathing, meditation, having an early night, anything that's going to just switch us from that sympathetic nervous stress response into the parasympathetic that helps to calm the body overall. So stress is the next thing to think about. Alcohol intake, I should have mentioned that when we're talking about tea and coffee. Yeah, I know we may not be drinking tea, coffee, alcohol, but again, you know, we're at that point of time in the year, aren't we? We've got these lovely summer evenings, and there is a temptation to be, you know, our alcohol intake can be creeping up a little bit. So try and reduce it down. Do make sure you are getting alcohol-free nights, and try and go for as long as possible without having any alcohol if you can, or look at your current levels and look at how you can reduce the amount down that you're currently consuming. Oxidative stress is another one, and what we mean by that is our cells are always producing oxidation, so free radical damage, and we don't want that. So things that we can do is to up our antioxidant intake, so eating lots of vegetables, eating berries, more fruit, but not a huge quantity of fruit because it is sugary, but making sure we're getting plenty of fruit and vegetables in our diet because they are rich in antioxidants. And linked to that is vitamin C, because not only is vitamin C an antioxidant, but it's also one of the key nutrients that helps to lower the histamine response. And you may want to think about supplementing vitamin C at this moment in time. What you'd be looking for is to be taking about 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. Ideally split that over the day, so maybe take 2 500 milligram capsules, one morning and one in the evening. You could up that slightly more initially, maybe to 2,000 milligrams. It's water soluble, it's not stored in the body, it's not harmful. And 2,000 milligrams may seem very, very high, but it's not going to be damaging and it could be beneficial. So if you're really suffering at the moment, buy some vitamin C. Ideally get vitamin C that comes with flavonoids because they work synergistically together, so some sort of berries within it, and ideally one that's what we call a time release formula, so that actually the vitamin C is slowly released into the bloodstream. But if you can't get time release, get the vitamin C, aim for the 500 milligrams, take morning and night, 1,000 milligrams up to 2,000 milligrams a day initially, because vitamin C has this beneficial impact on lowering the histamine response, lowering the release of histamine from mast cells. The next thing to think about is the foods that may be naturally rich in histamine, because again, what we want to do is just lower that histamine response in the body. So some foods, fermented foods, cured meats, aged cheeses, they're the types of foods that are going to have a higher level of histamine. It may not be, you know, on its own, I don't think that is going to be something that's going to overcome the symptoms you're having. But if you add that into the mix with everything else, then it should go, you know, it may be another factor that may help just to lower the trigger for you so that you're not getting so many symptoms. Now, I don't know if you've heard of a neti pot. Neti pots can be really good, particularly if it's more sort of the sinus area that you're getting the symptoms. But neti pots may seem really weird, but it's a way of clearing the irritation in the nasal passages. And it's a way of getting and encouraging a sort of saline solution to go up one nostril and come out of the other. I mean, you can create your own saline solution. And this may seem really messy, but in a really, really basic way, put a teaspoon of salt into a glass of very hot water so you dissolve the salt. Obviously wait for it to cool down, and in a very messy way, and I understand you don't want to be doing this in front of other people, and I'm certainly not going to demonstrate in front of you now, but you are literally closing one nostril, cupping some of this water, this saline water in your hand, and literally sniffing it up one nostril. Yeah, I know that doesn't sound very nice. Do it over a sink, but it can help reduce the irritation that may be occurring in the nasal passages. It can be very, very helpful. So, but if you don't want to do it like that, think about investing in a neti pot. Look it up online. Usually with a saline solution is all you would need to use to help and just to reduce that irritation. The other things that's also good for reducing histamine response is magnesium. Lovely old magnesium, one of my favorite nutrients to be taking. Again, foods that are rich in magnesium are your dark green leafy vegetables, also rich for vitamin C, brown rice, nuts and seeds. But you may want to think about a supplement, about 300 milligrams a day of something like magnesium citrate. Pretty safe supplement to be taking. I can't really think in all my years of practice and looking at contraindications of medication that you're likely to get any contraindication with that. If you're unsure and you're on medication, check with your GP, look at your product leaflet, but it's unlikely that there will be a contraindication. But magnesium as well could be helpful for lowering that histamine response too. So these are the things that are very, very good for that immediate problem that you're facing right now. But the reality is, you know, it's trying to understand why your body is creating this problem in the first place. Why is your body deciding to have an immune reaction to a pollen? You know, we should be able to come into contact with pollens and not have any symptoms at all. It takes a lot longer. This is a sort of thing that you would look at investing longer term, starting in the winter, to look at how you would build up your own defenses in your body. And it starts very much in the gut, as I'm always talking about, but often this is coming from an imbalance of bacteria in the gut that's creating this immune reaction that you're experiencing. It could be down to gut permeability that's causing this, poor liver function that's not detoxifying sufficiently well enough as well. So there's lots of things that you'd want to think about through the winter that isn't for today, but it's just being aware that really your body's producing a reaction for a reason that it shouldn't do, and there are ways to help address this that would take time to put into practice, that you would look to build up over the winter months to try and build up your own natural defenses, that when you get to the summer, it may not get rid of this completely, but your body structurally is in a much stronger position to be dealing with this, so you don't get such a strong reaction at this time of year. So hopefully those are things that you can go away and put into practice now. I will record this and save it on my Facebook page, and I will be putting out information very soon, because every single one of my Facebook lives from January is currently being uploaded into my own YouTube channel, Peyton Principles Natural Health. In fact, the channel is live now, but I'm not sure, because I'm not doing it myself. I'm not sure how far they've got in uploading all the videos. They certainly have started, and they've gone right back to some of the videos I did last year, but all the ones that I've been recording on a Tuesday night are in the process of being uploaded. So do have a look at my YouTube channel, same name as my Facebook page. And yeah, so that's it for this week. I hope you find it useful. I'm really sorry if you're experiencing symptoms. I know it is not pleasant at all. You know, we've got this gorgeous weather, and then along come these irritating symptoms that affect your day-to-day life and can affect your sleep as well, which isn't ideal. So I hope some of these recommendations will be helpful for you. Enjoy the rest of this lovely weather. I think it's about to break tonight, but it's been a fantastic run of nice weather while I've been spending so much time at home. Have a lovely week, and I'll be back next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Take care.